Hey everybody, it is Libby again with Fearlessness. What is fearlessness? Well, it's that underlying grit that empowers us to forge ahead. Even when hope seems distant, it's the courage to walk through the fires of hell, knowing that we're going to come out not just better on the other side, but stronger. So stay tuned and learn how to get fearlessness. I'm your host, Libby DeLucien, and today we have a very special guest, pretty in pink. Kim, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Hi, my name is Kimberle Nesselt. I am a residential cleaning owner in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, typically serving mostly Broward County. And I'm glad to be here.
Awesome. We're happy to have you. So Kimberle was telling me just a little bit before we got started that this was her first podcast.
Yes.
But what made you want to volunteer to be a guest?
So everybody keeps saying do it scared. So I'm doing it scared. My hands are shaking. I'm nervous. I've just never done anything like this before. I was a great teacher in a classroom, but I was always the teacher that was nervous when it was parent night and I had to speak in front of the parents. For some reason, it's completely different than speaking in front of children. So it's just a get over your fear kind of thing.
Yeah. So Do It Scared. There's actually a book called Do It Scared. The author is Ruth Sukup, and she's a New York Times bestseller, and I actually worked with her back when I organized in the field. She's located, believe it or not, in Punta Gorda, which is just north of me, because I'm in Fort Myers. It's about 30 or 45 minutes north of me, but she has her studio there. Her home is there. She is a super great lady. She's someone great to follow on social media because she's all about doing it scared and entrepreneurism and women. Very good person to follow. But yes, let's do it scared. So I love that you shared that you were a teacher. Yes. How long were you a teacher? And then what made you get into being an entrepreneur? Like, why did you start your own business?
So I was an at-home mom for 12 years. When my youngest went into sixth grade, I really didn't need to be home anymore. So I thought I would go back to teaching, and I taught for 6.5 years. It was great. Right up until the time COVID came and everything went remote. It was a huge struggle for me because I'm a touchy person. I like to be able to hands-on with the students and things like that. And it lost its joy. It lost its passion. So at that time, I had just moved back from Georgia, and my cousin Lisa had a cleaning company there, and my cousin Debbie is so wonderful. But they all just said, why don't you try opening up your own cleaning business? So I did. And it was, it was in August of 2020. So we had two types of people, the ones that really wanted a cleaning company and the ones that didn't want anyone in their home. And we were really blessed in our community that we had the customers that wanted their house regularly cleaned. So my dad's business happened to be pretty much stopped at that point, and my stepmother and him worked together. So I asked her, I said, would you like to come clean houses with me while you're waiting to see what's going to happen with your business? And she said, sure. So we started August 2020, and here we are now.
So when you first started, did you clean houses?
I did.
How did you like it?
We're very different. I'm very good at it. I think most business owners put so much into it because it's theirs and it's their name and your community knows you, so you really want to be good at it. We're very different type of cleaners though. She is a deep cleaner on every house, and I am, it's maintenance. Let's go on to the next one. So it was really hard for us to work together because one of us was obviously always faster and one of us was slower. But she loves the cleaning part, and she to this day is still cleaning and has amazing clients, and their children love her. And so she is my number one technician.
Awesome. That's great. I didn't know that you have was it your mother or your mother-in-law?
It's my stepmother.
Yeah. That's great. I was a horrible cleaner because I deep cleaned everything. So I was not efficient. I went overtime. You would make no money from me as a cleaner at all because I was like toothbrush and a toothpick, and But I also had no process or system because that was before my CBF days when I was in the field. I've actually never been back in the field since I signed up with Debbie's program. Since I signed up with CBF, I've never been back. So love it and super thankful. So I want to know how is it different from being a teacher, like before the COVID days of teaching, being a teacher, than transitioning to an entrepreneur? Because I'm sure there's a lot of teachers out there that question it.
For me, since I was home for 12 years, I always liked to have my own money. I didn't want to just be home because obviously when the kids were in school, I had a lot of downtime. So I always had horses. I used to race barrels. I used to race in Punta Gorda. So I had 4 horses that I didn't want my husband's household money to have to go to in order for me to enjoy my hobby. So I got my real estate license. I started a cupcake company called Kim's Cupcakes. I worked from 5 in the morning to 10 in the morning baking cupcakes, and it got really big. I had pharmaceutical reps that would come to the house and pick up their orders and take them to doctors' offices and things like that. And then in the summer, when the frosting wouldn't hold up, I turned those same containers into muffin holders. So I made chocolate chip muffins and all these different types of things that would help me fund my horse habit. So
I've heard a lot of habits, but I haven't heard of a horse habit. You needed a fund for your horse habit.
It's a lot of money to go to these races and have all your equipment and your horses and to take care of it. So it was my way of being able to have my own money during that home time with the kids. And I really, really enjoyed it. And then I went back to teaching, and I think I still had that entrepreneurial spirit that I didn't like being confined in a building all day. So I was the teacher that took them outside by the lake just to have class because I didn't like being behind a door and 4 walls all day. So I think that was the biggest motivating factor for me was I wanted my time. I wanted to be able to go when I wanted to build something that was mine and that I didn't have to work every single day, but I could delegate some of those things to other people and kind of have that residual income that just kind of keeps coming. And I like the behind the scenes where I can work getting the customers and things like that. I love the customer service part. I love talking to them and welcoming them to our company. So that's kind of how I transitioned. I knew I just didn't want to be behind those 4 walls all the time.
I love that. And so for like our listeners transitioning from the teacher for 6 years, teaching role to, you had a little entrepreneur spirit already brewing. What did you do to get over the fear of quitting your teaching job and going full-time as a business owner?
I think I had a little bit of freedom because our kids are grown and out of the home. They both have their own lives now. My husband makes enough that afforded me that, dip in the water kind of thing to be able to see if it worked or if it failed. So I didn't feel this pressure to have to make a certain amount. I knew a certain amount I wanted to make for me to be comfortable, to feel like I contributed something. But he really just blessed me in the fact that he said, just do it. I know you're going to be successful at it. Just do it. And I felt like we had so much support because with our family being in it, I had so many people to ask questions to. And since we joined in August, well, actually, we started the company in August, just my stepmother and I, to kind of see how it goes. And then in December, we started with CBF. So April was our first live. And from April on, I no longer cleaned. I, separated the 2 of us because we were thinking we were making $30 an hour and we were making $15 an hour because the 2 of us were working. So we learned much really fast.
You see that mistake happens to all of us when we start.
Yeah. So we thought, oh my gosh, we're doing so well. And then when I got to live, I'm like, oh, we're doing terrible.
But I love how quickly you invested in yourself.
Yes.
So, that's pretty fast, because for me, it took me.
What if I told you that your boss skydives, Tim in marketing is a magician, and Sam in accounting does sums in his head while standing on his hands? Seeing sides of the people you work with but never see, sides that inform and inspire their work and that can inspire yours, is what The Talent Show is all about. Email me, Tom Alexander, host of The Talent Show, at talentshow@backboneinc.com, and show us what you got. I look forward to seeing you on The Talent Show.
A little time to realize that I needed a coach, I needed a mentor, I needed a program, I needed a peer group. What would you say that peer group, that coaching, the program, how has it helped you scale?
Oh my gosh. In the beginning, I would just call Lisa with all of my questions. I'm like, tell me what to do. How do I handle this? I feel like we built a really solid foundation from day one. I feel like the beauty of this is because it is my business, I could pick and choose my customers. So I
Yeah.
kind of took all the stress out of it, because if they weren't really nice on the phone, I would say, you know what, I really am booked right now. I have no availability. I would find a way out of it, because I didn't want to work with anybody that, if I didn't want to go in the home, I didn't want my stepmother to have to go in the home, or somebody else we employed to go in the home if I didn't want to. So I felt like that whole transition just kind of, it really was very easy. I tend to be a non-stressful kind of person. So I kind of just let things kind of happen as they go. I mean, I do push to make them happen, but I don't put a lot of stress on it. So I think it just naturally evolved in a really nice way.
So I love that you are low stress. So I follow, I can't remember her name. She's on Instagram. You think her last name is Johnson. She's 50 and she looks phenomenal, like absolutely phenomenal. I'm going to look on Instagram right now because I follow her. So she always pops up on my feed, like first thing. And she had said one of the ways, I think it's Charlene Johnson. She's into fitness and, but she said one of the ways that she has helped improve her physical look is by reducing stress out of her life. And I can so relate with that. But for our listeners, Kimberle, and owning a business is stressful, starting up a business is stressful. Do you have, I love the tip by choose your customers, right?
Yes.
Do you have any other tips, or what can you talk about to help reduce that stress as a business owner? What are some things you found that you didn't realize that were stressing you out? And then what are some tips that we can use to reduce the stress out of our life?
I think one of the biggest things for me is know when you work the best. My day is probably a little less typical than somebody else's, because I like to get up in the morning. You know, my husband's usually getting ready for work. We talk, we hang out. I have my coffee, and I kind of just ease into the morning. I have a routine where I work out at Orange Theory from 10 to 11, 5 days a week. So I know that time period is occupied. And for me, where I get my anxiety and stress and things out is knowing that I've allotted that time for myself. I purposely scheduled it at 10 o'clock because at 9 o'clock, I want to make sure everyone's clocked in. There's no hiccups in the morning. Usually if there's morning calls, they come in before 10. So usually in that 10 to 11 time frame, I feel like I have a little bit of peace. I don't have to worry. I can just kind of take care of myself. And then when I come home, I have my breakfast, I shower, and from that 12:30 to 5, I'm so focused. I can look at the schedule and not be like, oh my gosh, where's this person going to go, or that person? And I feel like because I've taken care of myself, because I haven't stressed out my morning, and then in that endorphin release at Orange Theory, I'm able to be so productive in that last half of the day. And I know a lot of people like to be more productive in the morning, but I think the thing that takes the stress out is knowing when you're most productive. Because you could do a little bit in the morning, a little bit in the afternoon, a little bit in the afternoon. It's just too scattered. And for me, I found that afternoon time frame is really when I am the best.
I love that. I love that you're controlling your time. What do you do if, customer calls between 10 and 11?
unfortunately, it has to wait. I'm
See,
going to
no, that's
cry.
fine. I just wanted you to
Yeah.
say that out loud.
Yeah.
It has
Yeah.
to
I mean,
wait.
I really just, obviously I have, notifications on my watch. If it's an emergency, I can step out and handle it. But if it's a customer, it just has to wait because that time is my time. And I think it is really important that we have those time slots for ourselves because mentally, I feel like I need to know that I've done my exercise part. That helps me a lot.
Yeah, I love that because I think,
Hey, this is William Tincup, and I'd like to talk to you a little bit about Practitioner Corner podcast. It's a wonderful podcast about the journey, the paths of how practitioners, both HR and TA, kind of go from high school, college, all the way to where they are right now. Some of the things that they've learned, how they've been successful, people that thrive around them, etc. It's a fun podcast. You'll love it. You'll learn from it. Subscribe to it. Thanks.
when we're starting our businesses and we're growing, we're so like you're just on all the time. I mean, I hear and I coach and I talk to so many business owners that they get to a certain like level or size and they just like dump everything off on like an office admin, office assistant, office manager, whatever the titles are. And they're dumping it off and the business starts to almost regress when they thought it was supposed to grow because they finally got help. But I think it's because we dump it off because we're so past the point of burnout. We're so past the point of like the chaos and the stress. But I love how, you're controlling your day, you're owning your schedule, and nothing's going to burn down in an hour.
Right, right.
I mean, a house could burn down in an hour, but nothing's going to burn down in an hour that you couldn't deal with when you got done, like through a voicemail or calling them back. And I love that. I think we put so much pressure on ourselves to like be perfect, answer every call, like,
right.
And it's not realistic because it will lead to burnout. We will not last.
Right. And I find that being home and working from home, I have to make opportunities to meet people and let them know what I do. So that hour where I see different people and they have a place on the table where you can put your business cards,
that's nice.
It's a great place to get customers.
So it's a marketing expense.
It is. Yes.
So I love that. So, working from home, I work remotely as well. A lot of our office do. COVID brought a whole new way to work. We call our office at WootRecruit our virtual office. Like step into our virtual office. It's actually Slack, but we call it our virtual office. So working from home, what kind of challenges has that brought? Like, do you have a hard time organizing your time or staying focused when working from home?
I'm not going to lie. Some days I do. Some days I'm just, you know what? If something comes up, I'll handle it. I just don't want to do anything today, but because I am the person that does the marketing, the invoicing, the scheduling, the hiring, I'm still that person because we're still small. I find that, I have invoicing at the end of the day whenever all the work is done. You just have those areas of time that you need to be productive, and just make them work at that time. I try not to scatter things all over the place. Like I said, so my mornings are kind of occupied, but the afternoon is really when I kind of take care of everything else. So, sometimes I think we had a puppy, he's a year old now. So being home with him sometimes is challenging when you're trying to train someone here and onboard them in your home. And, so there's little challenges like that from working from home. The other thing is after my first CBF Live, when they talked about if you are working from home, set a time that your technicians can come by and pick up supplies, because since I was here, they would text and say, "Oh, can I come now? Can I come now?" And I felt like it was a little too much. There needed to be a day and a time that I was completely available for that. So, I schedule Thursday afternoons. They come in, they swap out their supplies. So that's made it a lot more easy. So I don't have to be here all the time, but I know on Thursdays I'll be here for that half of the afternoon. So.
And I think that's really important, probably for even businesses with an office, we see more and more home-based businesses becoming more and more popular because it's to work through Zoom now with an office assistant or sales or a scheduler is so much more common than it used to be. So people are embracing like that work from home. But whether I think your technicians are coming to your home or even your office, having set days and or times is huge. It's really big because then you're going to kind of force them to see each other. Because at least in cleaning, we don't see our technicians that often because they're kind of a remote setting where they're working from home, which means they're leaving from their house, going to the first job, second job back home. So we don't see them that often. So if you're trying to build culture or work on that camaraderie feeling, having those set times is kind of going to force them into a window where they're going to see each other more, see their coworkers, engage with people on another level. So I think it's a good idea no matter what. So you're fairly new into business. Actually not. COVID, that's almost 4 years ago.
I know, it's almost 4 years. Yeah, we're going into, this is our 3rd year of CBF. Yeah.
I'm like, actually, COVID was 4 years ago in March. It's crazy. It's been a long time.
Yeah.
So I would say, what is the thing that you're the most proud of since starting your business?
Oh my gosh. I'm proud of the fact that I've built a business like this, for one, and that I actually have employees, people that work for us, people that are happy to work for us. The amount of clients we have, we fluctuate between 71 and 75. We can't seem to break over that 75 yet. But I feel like we have a really solid company, that it was built on a really good foundation. And that's what I think we take the most pride in, is customer service. I think is huge. I have a great rapport with my clients. And just knowing that they're going to get a recurring person that's going to show up and actually be friendly when they get there, present themselves well. We take a lot of pride in that. And I think our customers feel that. Our community, we had somebody in our community, we don't know who, reached out to an editor and nominated my husband and I to be on the cover of the magazine in our community.
I saw that.
It was amazing. We never even saw the photo until somebody sent me a picture of it when we were at live. And so there was a 2-page article inside. We didn't have to pay any marketing for it, but the editor is a flex house for us. So, he's been reaching out about a podcast and I kept turning him away. And I was like, no, Libby's going to be the first. We're going to baby step into this. And then I'll tell him it's okay. I'll do another one. So I think building those ties in the community is really, it's really nice. It's brought a lot of pride to us.
That's awesome. I love that. And for home service businesses, I think that's huge because we're going into people's houses. So it requires another level of trust and kind of that know, like, and trust somebody because we are coming into their homes, whether it's us specifically or our employees, which is a representation of us in our business. It's important to have those community ties. So my next question is, if you had to do this all over again, right? What is that one thing that you would have done differently? Like, what would you have done sooner or not done? What would you have done differently?
Oh gosh. I guess not be so afraid to let it grow fast. My husband is more aggressive than me as far as grow, just let it happen. And I am more organized and methodical. And I'm like, I don't want a house of cards. I want it to be really solid. And so I think I probably overpick my technicians instead of just saying, okay, you're ready to go. You want work. Like Debbie says, get the ones that want to work. Sometimes I feel like, well, they're not a right fit for my customers. And then I question myself, why am I judging if they're a right fit? And so I think that's my biggest holdback, is thinking or assuming what my customers want. And I think I could have grown a lot faster, had more technicians if I was more just let's go. You want to work? Let's do it,
I love that because that was my biggest issue.
Yeah.
Believe it or not. I won't say I was a perfectionist. I'm not perfect, but someone that likes perfect things.
Right.
So because of the organizing side of me, I wanted everything perfect and I was the only one who could do it. And I had and like one day I had a light bulb moment, like an epiphany. I don't know what I was listening to. It was probably an audiobook. It will never grow if I have so much control over it, right? Businesses that are growing are messy and they have to be messy. But at the same time, you can't always be in growth mode, right? There's seasons of growth, there's seasons of stability. But I was my biggest bottleneck. For the longest time, we didn't grow because I felt like I needed to control the growth.
That's me.
So I can totally relate. And then finally I surrendered, like I gave up to everything. I was like, I give up. Everyone can do whatever they want as long as this is the end result. So it's interesting. It's hard to get over. I feel like you would have an epiphany, like it's just going to click one day and be like, okay, I'm ready.
Yeah.
So you mentioned your husband. When are you going to bring Joe into the business?
So he's kind of silently on the backside. He does all of our payroll. He's our numbers guy. Every end of the month, he'll bring me a spreadsheet that shows our little graph year over year. So he is the one that, I look at the daily numbers, I look at the monthly numbers, and then he shows it to me in big screen. So when I think we're not growing fast enough, or I wish it was a little bit more than it is, he's like, but look where you were last year. Look at where you were the year before. Look at where you are now. And I see that continual growth. And then I feel good that it's, like I said, growing, increasing, but it's also growing controllable that I'm comfortable with. So he does. Yeah, he does. I kind of pushed him a little bit when I felt like he needed another role that interacted with our technicians, because it was always, no, you do it. So now when I onboard them, he gives them the welcome call and he'll say, welcome to the team. If you have any questions about, he'll give them a backup spreadsheet that shows what their jobs were and how many hours they work. He's like, if you have any questions, regarding that, that's on me. So it's kind of gotten him more into that people role where he interacts with more of our technicians than he has previously.
Do you guys have a goal to bring him into the business full time?
Yes. Yeah.
Yes?
Yeah.
That's exciting. Is there a revenue goal or a time goal?
It's more a revenue goal because the way we look at it is obviously we need to replace his salary.
Yes.
Before we can move him over. So,
is there a time frame you're trying to do it in?
We don't have a specific time frame. We are looking at when we moved back to Florida, we knew we weren't going to buy here. We wanted to live somewhere that was more seasonal, that we actually had 4 seasons. And
we don't have 4 seasons down here.
No.
Me and Kimberle are like right across from each other. I'm on one side of the coast, she's on the other, but there is no fall or winter.
No, it's just summer
hot
all year long.
and hot.
Yeah.
Why we don't have sleeves on.
Yeah. So we're kind of looking at where we want to live in the next 5 years. And so this summer we have a couple different areas that we're going to that we want to look at. Could possibly be a second location. We have a lot of ideas. We want to see how it's going to ultimately pan out.
Nice.
So, yeah.
I like that. The freedom and flexibility that entrepreneurism can bring, not just you, but to your husband as well.
Right. Yes.
So what advice would you give the younger version of yourself? Or like, say, if your daughter wants to open a business?
Oh, gosh. I would say my younger self, I was very, very shy in front of groups. And we would walk into a room and my husband's friends would say, oh, the mayor's here, because he talks to everybody. And I would kind of wait when we were dating and be like, Yeah, and I would sit in the back and I would wait until he's done and then we would leave. And then finally we got to this point where, we got married and I was like, oh, heck no, I'm going to jump in there too. And I'm going to start forcing myself out of my comfort zone and start talking to people. And so now sometimes he's like, hey, I'm ready to go. And now I'm the one talking. So it's been a nice transition, but I think my younger self, I would say, let go of all your insecurities. It doesn't matter. Our family has big foreheads, and I never wanted anybody to see my forehead. So I finally got to the point that I was like, this is so stupid. Why do you let something like that hold you back? And, I didn't want to go swimming because I didn't want my hair to get wet. And I didn't want, it's just silly things that you're like, these are my insecurities, and those are things that in the big picture, you're like, why in the world would you let something like that hold you back? Bless you.
Excuse me. I think I got to sneeze again, but no, I'm good. Okay. I love that.
Yeah. And I think my daughters have always seen me do something. I've always been busy, whether it's at the barn taking care of my horses or someone else's horses, fixing fences. I mean, I'm not afraid to do anything laborious or get outside and get sweaty. Like, I was so happy at the barn. That was my happy place. And so they've always seen me do something. And, it makes me feel very proud that my kids know. I was fixing a fence one day and a guy came up to help, and my little 3-year-old at the time, she's probably 3 or 4. She's like, my mom don't need no man. No. Like, your mom can get it. I can handle it. And so I think I've given them a really strong person to look at as far as you can do anything you want to. Just try it. If it fails, try something else. I believe life is too short to pick one thing. I feel like there's so many opportunities for things. And I'm 54 now, and I feel like the older I get, I'm like, oh, my time frame for doing all the things I want to do is getting shorter and shorter. So I would just tell them, do everything and anything you can. Anything you want, just do it, try it.
Yes, I think that that's one of the things that, with technology and the internet and cell phones and all that, is that it's done this weird thing where it's like, it's created more curiosity, but dampened experience. So kids are more curious because they'll look up things on TikTok or YouTube, like videos, but it's dampened that experience because they're not actually trying it themselves or watching somebody else try it.
Right.
Versus going out and trying all kinds of things. It's a different curiosity now. And kids, I think, at least with mine, it seems like they're more fearful because they've watched videos of it go badly, or and so they're not being curious themselves. So I love that, just go and try it. What do they think about their mom owning a cleaning company?
They're so wonderful. They give me so many kudos. Like my youngest will call and she'll just say, I'm so proud of you, Mom. Like, that's amazing. And, when we got our press release for Cleaning for a Reason, the same magazine put us in there for Cleaning for a Reason. And, I was able to show them that. And they're just like, Mom, that's amazing. Your company's getting noticed. And, so, the oldest and the youngest always say such great things and make me feel good. And they make me feel like I want to do more to make them more proud. So it's a nice feeling to, see your adult children doing really well and then them seeing you do well, and everybody's just complimenting each other. So Joe and I are very proud. Yeah.
That's great. So is there anything coming up, any exciting news, anything we can watch out for? Does Kimberle have anything cooking, whether in the business or personally?
I'm always cooking. That's one of my biggest passions, is cooking. I guess probably the biggest thing to come in the future would be a second location, and wherever we find, that we want to live. We're kind of looking in the Georgia, North Carolina, South Carolina, Tennessee, those areas.
I know. I have a house up there.
I know. I'm always up that way. So yeah. So I think that's probably the biggest thing coming up as far as the business part. A lot of travel coming up this year. That's the other thing. This business has afforded me so much opportunity to travel last year and reconnect with people. And that's been a huge blessing.
I love that. And I don't know if you guys noticed what Kimberle said about, and I think I told Chris the same thing the other day. I was like, where do we want to open our next location? And I'm like, where do we want to live? And so you would have the ability to spin up a location, live there for a little bit, get it going. And if you want to move, you could move to another place and keep supporting those locations. But you were there to create the foundation and start that location. And it's a really interesting concept to be like, where do we want to live next? Let's go try it for 6 months or a year. Yeah. And then we can decide if we want to go somewhere else. So it's almost funding our travel habit.
Right.
But I had just told Chris the same thing, like, where do we want? Because we're going to open a location in Georgia as well. But I'm not exactly sure yet because where my house is, there's not a lot of population.
Right.
But we're looking at locations, and I said, well, where do we want to go instead of where do we have to go?
Right.
Yes. So I love that. I want to thank Kimberle for being our guest on the Fearlessness Podcast. We are coming up to our end. And for our listeners, if you want to find more episodes just like this one, you go to thefearlessness.com. And we also want to thank our sponsor, WootRecruit, for sponsoring all of our episodes. And that's a wrap, guys. Into the heart of fearlessness. Remember, every step we take is a move towards our own strength and courage. Keep walking through those fires of hell because on the other side lies a version of yourself that's unstoppable. I'm Libby, reminding you to embrace your fearlessness. Until next time, stay brave, stay bold, and keep pushing forward.
Thank you.